Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. As you can see, I'm back again. I haven't done one of these videos for a number of weeks, nor have I been at services or have worked at the shul until the last couple days. I was away with family, with kids and grandkids, together with Toby, and it was really rejuvenating and wonderful to be in the Northeast and wonderful to be in a different place and to have some time to relax, to be with family, to laugh, and to just have a good time. I feel a little bit at this moment like the Olympic athletes, the runners, or the swimmers who before they start their meets, they start jumping around and getting themselves ready. Only I'm not doing it in a physical way. It's more of a spiritual preparation that's taking place because very important days are coming up. Monday night, we'll be commemorating Tisha B'Av together, and in a sense, this is now the season that we begin counting the days towards the high holidays and how important those days are, all of these days are spiritually, and how much there is for us to reflect upon in terms of our Jewish history and the texts which we read and the special sections from Torah and Tanakh that become a part of our lives. And I would like to comment a little bit about those things. This Shabbat is known as Shabbat Chazon, the Saturday, the Shabbat that comes right before Tisha B'Av. And Chazon means vision, and it reflects on the vision of Isaiah that we find in the Haftorah. It's a very serious vision. It's a very, very frightening vision. It's a vision of Jewish destruction. And Isaiah's words, like Jeremiah's words, which came before, speak to the destruction of the Jewish people. And we know we commemorate our destruction, that is the destruction of two temples and exile from our land on these holy days. Interestingly, in the traditional liturgy, when it speaks about the destruction, it does not speak about the destruction in relation to the power of the Romans or the power of the Babylonians, but rather it's very self-reflective. In our liturgy, we say, Mipnei Chata'enu, because of our sins, we were exiled from our land. In other words, our tradition and our rabbis said that we have a responsibility for what happens, and they had a realization that all conflict involves at least two parties, that conflict doesn't happen because of one party, but conflict happens because of two parties. And so now in these days, I do feel like it's a challenge to us in terms of who we are, what we have been, what we are, the decisions that we make. Jeremiah and Isaiah speak about corruption in government, and they speak about the fact that our people did not have proper responsibilities in their treatment of each other and treatment of others. These are important and central Jewish ideas, central Jewish notions. But eventually there were returns. Eventually our people came back. And they came back because of not just their physical power and strength, but because of the nature of the people that were created. And so this week we read Parshat Devarim, the Parsha of Deuteronomy, the beginning of the 5th book of the Torah. And it's about that which has always kept us alive as a people. You know, the first two commonwealths of the Jewish people, when we had autonomy, only lasted about 70, 75 years each. We are now in the 76th year of the state of Israel. We know nothing is permanent, and we want to build a state and a people that will last much longer than 76 years. We pray for that. The very first law, and I have said this over and again as your rabbi, the very first law of Jewish ethics comes from Pirkei Avot, where we learn, if I'm not for myself, who am I? And that is to say, we have an obligation to protect ourselves, to defend our people, to keep life alive. But then it continues and says, if I'm only for myself, what am I? And so what we realize that as a special people, we have a responsibility not just for ourselves, but for others in the world. It's when we retract and think it's only about me that we become pretty obnoxious as people or as a people. And so what we have to do is broaden our vision as wide as we can. I was away during 4 pretty difficult weeks, both in the Mideast, in Israel, as well as in the political situations that we witnessed here and the type of tension that was here. I hope now we can turn to a place of optimism. I hope that we can build a better future. And it begins now, and it begins with each one of us. Shabbat Shalom.